What's going on, guys, and welcome to my month 7 hair transplant update. And I know I keep saying it every month now, but every month does go by really quickly now. Like, I can't believe we're at month 7 already. Like, it feels like just a few days ago it was month 6, but to be honest, it feels like last week was like month 2. Like, I remember thinking like, wow, this is going to be a really long journey, but the last 5 months has just absolutely flown by. So as you can see, my hair is looking nice and full. It does look quite a bit fuller than it did last month even, but I'm not sure if that's because my density has increased or maybe it's just because my hair has just gotten longer. But yeah, it is looking really good. This side was actually my weak side. It's kind of difficult to tell now which was my weak side, but yeah, it was definitely this side. But as you can see, both sides are looking really good, really full. The corners and everything just look really good as well. So yeah, like, I'm just really happy with it. I'll give you a better look at what it looks like just right next to the window. So as you can see from every angle, even in direct sunlight, it's looking really good. I believe this is probably my final result now. I can't really see it getting much better, but if it does, then you know, it's just it's the icing on the cake. Basically, any little progress from here on out is just the cherry on the top, basically. But yeah, overall, I'm really happy with it. So rather than just making a very short, quick update video, I thought I would talk about things that you should know before getting a hair transplant. So number 1, so before getting a hair transplant, just make sure that you have realistic expectations, because far too often I see people getting hair transplants and thinking that just automatically they're going to have great results and their hair is going to come back very thick and very dense, and that it's going to look just like it did before they started losing their hair. But in reality, it's not quite like that. You've got to understand that everyone is different. There are a lot of different factors that go into a successful hair transplant. So for example, just because you see somebody who might have similar type of hair as you and they go to one clinic, it doesn't mean that if you go to the same clinic as them, you'll get the same great results that they got, because there are lots of different factors that go into, you know, successful hair transplant. It's not just the precision and accuracy of the technician or the doctor, but also on your behalf, it's your genetics, you know, your age, your diet, you know, whether you do exercise or not, whether you smoke or not, whether you drink or not, you know, all of these different factors go into, you know, a successful hair transplant. So, you know, bear that in mind. So we're all different and we're all going to have slightly different results. Also, the time it takes for your hair to grow in after you had a hair transplant as well, it's going to be different, you know, from person to person. So for example, I might have had good results by month 6, but if you're at month 6 and you're not seeing as good results, that doesn't mean that you had a failed hair transplant. It just means that your hair might just take a little bit longer to grow in. So for example, some people will see most of their growth by month 6, whereas other people might see their best results from month 6 to month 12. So, you know, you just gotta stay patient with it. Also, be aware that Afro hair, of course, is a lot more difficult to transplant than straight hair. One of the reasons is because it's not just curly on the outside, it's actually curly underneath the skin too, so it's hard to actually extract the hair graft without actually damaging it. I've read that with an FUE hair transplant that the graft survival rate is around 90%, which means that if you have 1,000 grafts transplanted, out of those 1,000 grafts, 900 of them will succeed and survive, whereas 100 of them will die out. But I believe, from all the videos I've seen, from all the research that I've been doing, I believe that with Afro hair, the graft survival rate is actually a little bit lower than 90%, just because of like all the videos that I've seen and the research that I've done over the last year or so. Like the people that I've seen who have gotten a hair transplant, they do tend to have some like weak areas. So for example, you know, light spots or bald spots here and there, and like the light patches here and there. And it does lead me to think that with Afro hair, the graft survival rate is actually less than 90%, just because of the fact that it is just so difficult to actually extract the hair from the back of your head without actually damaging the graft. So yeah, just be aware of that. And with that being said, just know that you may need more than one hair transplant. Like, even if you are only getting like a hairline lowering done, like even then you might still need like a second procedure just to add more density. But certainly if you are like Norwood 5, Norwood 6 or Norwood 7, the likelihood that you'll need a second hair transplant or even a third hair transplant is even more so. So yeah, just be aware of that. So another thing to know before getting a hair transplant is if you have receding edges or if your edges are gone completely, make sure that you get them done during the procedure because it's going to be very important with the overall look. So for example, if you look up some of my earlier videos, like month 1 or even before that, you'll notice that I had like receding edges here and on both sides. And obviously during the procedure, I had them filled in and it looks really good now. But if I didn't get them to do that, basically what would happen is the front of my hairline would look good, but because the edges would have been slanted, it would have looked weird. Like my forehead would have looked really wide, and it wouldn't have really framed my face the way it does now. So I would say getting your edges done if you don't have any, or if you have receding edges, it's definitely important. It's definitely gonna make your overall hairline and look a lot better, and it's just gonna frame your face much more better, and overall it's just gonna make you a little bit more youthful looking. So yeah, definitely get your edges done. I saw a couple of videos with a couple of guys in America who went to Dr. Deep, and before the procedure they had planned to obviously get their hair done as well as their edges, but then I think during the procedure Dr. Deep decided not to actually do their edges, and they seemed to be okay with it. But me personally, if that happened to me, if we had agreed that we were going to do my edges as well as my hairline, and then all of a sudden the doctor just changes his mind during the procedure, like I wouldn't be happy. I'd be like, I'm not leaving here until my edges are done. Like that's what I would say, because basically you don't want to go back for a second procedure and pay like another like 10 to 15,000 pounds or 10 to 15,000 dollars or whatever it is that Dr. Deep is charging to get a second procedure to get the edges done when it should have been done during the first procedure. So yeah, wherever you go, whether it's in Turkey or it's America, whichever clinic you go to, just be very adamant during your consultation that you want your edges done as well as your hairline, yeah? So just make sure you have it in writing as well. Also, if you are in your 20s and you're only getting like a hairline transplant done like I did, let's say if you're like a Norwood 2 or Norwood 3, just understand that, you know, going forward over the next 5, 10, 15 years, you'll probably continue to recede, so you'll need more hair transplants afterwards. And everyone only has a certain amount of hair in your donor area to have multiple hair transplants. You know, some people only have enough for one, depending on how many grafts are taken. So just be aware of that and know that it's definitely better to get on some sort of hair loss prevention medication, such as finasteride or dutasteride, if you're in your 20s and you're getting hair transplant, just because, you know, you don't want to be going back, you know, for multiple hair transplants afterwards. So I started taking finasteride like a couple of months before I had my hair transplant. So I take 3 pills per week. So 1 pill every Monday, Wednesday and Friday. And so far it's been working great. I haven't had any side effects or anything like that. And I'll basically just continue to take it for the foreseeable future, in the hope that I won't need to have any more hair transplants after this one. So another thing to be aware of before you get your hair transplant is, if you're planning on getting your hair transplant done in Turkey like I did, just be aware of when you have your consultation with whichever clinic, you know, you go to or you're thinking of going to, just know that you'll be having the consultation not with the actual doctor, but more likely with a salesperson. And of course, a salesperson will do what most salespersons do, and that's basically try and sell you something that you don't need. So for example, I've noticed that there's a big trend in Turkey now where they're doing DHI transplants, and they're marketing those types of procedures as, you know, superior and much better than the regular FUE. But in reality, it's not really better. It's a newer type of procedure, but it's not really better. There's no real like evidence to suggest that a DHI transplant is superior to an FUE hair transplant. It's just newer. It's a newer type of procedure, and it's slightly different. With both a regular FUE and a DHI procedure, the actual extraction process is exactly the same. So they'll use like a small drill, usually like a electric drill, that will extract each hairs from the back of your head in the donor area. So the extraction process is the same in both. The main difference is the implantation process. So with a regular FUE transplant, what will happen is they'll extract the hairs with a drill, and then they'll make channels in the top of your head and in your recipient area where you'll need the hairs transplanted to. They'll make incisions, and then with a pair of tweezers, they'll one by one start sticking, you know, the grafts into the incisions that they had made. With the DHI transplant, what will happen is they'll extract the hairs in the same way as with the FUE hair transplant using a drill, and then each of those hairs, they'll load it up into like a little implanter pen. So instead of having to do the incisions first and then sticking the grafts into the incisions, they'll stick the grafts into an implanter pen after it's been extracted, and then from the pen they'll just stick it directly into the recipient area. And that's basically the main difference. Like I said before, like there's nothing really to suggest that one is better than the other. But of course, like I said, you'll be speaking to a salesperson in this Turkish clinic, and they'll basically try and sell it to you like it's something much more superior. And the reason is because it costs around $1,000 to $1,500 more for the DHI procedure. And so of course they're going to try and sell it to you. It's basically called an upsell. And personally, I wouldn't get it. I would just save yourself the money, save yourself the $1,000 or $1,500 or whatever it is, and just go for the regular FUE procedure. The other thing they'll try and sell you on are all the different sort of pills that they'll try and get you to buy at the clinic. So it will be like biotin pills or biotin gummies, it will be finasteride, it will be minoxidil, it will be derma rollers. You know, in a lot of those clinics they'll have all of those things packed together like a nice pack, and they'll try and sell it to you for anywhere from like $250 up until around $500, where in actual fact you can buy all of those things yourself separately in your home country, whether you're from the UK or the US or wherever, for a fraction of the cost that they'll try and sell to you in Turkey. So my advice would be, don't buy any of it, just buy it all in your own country for much less money, just like I did. Like I didn't buy anything from the clinic that I went to, just I had all the stuff that I needed myself. Like I had the biotin, I had the finasteride and the minoxidil, all of that kind of stuff I bought in the UK for much cheaper. So yeah, like I said, they're salesmen, so of course they're going to try and sell you something that you don't need. They'll try and get you to get some upsells, they'll try and get you to get the DHI procedure, they'll try and get you to buy all these, you know, biotin and finasteride and all that kind of stuff for like $500. But trust me, just stick to a regular FUE procedure and buy all that finasteride and minoxidil and all them pills in your home country for much less. So anyway guys, that's about it for this video. I hope you found it informative. If you did, I would appreciate if you hit the like button and subscribe for more content like this. I'll probably add some more things that you should be aware of before getting a hair transplant in my next video, which will be my month 8 video it'll be on the 15th of next month. But anyway guys, if you have any comments or questions, drop them down in the comment section below. And with that being said, I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.